What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of George Reviews. And we're here for another Better Call Saul episode, the latest, newest episode of Better Call Saul, episode number 6 of season 6, entitled Axe and Grind. And this was a very, 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 very intense episode. A lot going on, a lot to cover. Another great episode, in my opinion. Episode was written by Ariel Levine, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, and directed by Giancarlo Esposito, Gus himself. And what episode to give him. This was just a fantastic all around. I had a really fun time with everything. And by the way, we'll be talking full on spoilers like we do on each of these episodes. So spoiler warning, you have been warned. We'll be talking full spoilers of this episode of Better Call Saul. Now, this is sort of a penultimate episode to the mid-season finale. A lot of people might not know who avoid the promotional materials that after the next episode, there will be a 6-week hiatus, a break from Better Call Saul, which is kind of upsetting because I really want all these 13 episodes all at once. If I could binge all of them, I would. Unfortunately, this is how AMC and maybe the powers that be want to divide them up. Maybe there's a special reason, and I can tell that some shit's probably going to go down in episode 7. But we were left with the cliffhanger ending of this episode, so it's a lot of tension, a lot of chess pieces kind of moving around, and it's kind of hard to tell where they're all going and what the overall end game is for all these characters. But it's definitely moving in a direction, and the pacing is just wonderful. And along with every other technical aspect of this episode, from the cinematography to the performances to the direction, Giancarlo Esposito did a wonderful job directing this episode. We started the teaser with a flashback to Kim, another flashback to Kim's childhood, if you remember from last year, as well as the 6th episode of season 5, in the 6th episode of this season. We got a Kim flashback teaser with her and her mother, and this is a kind of a different circumstances, of course, from that episode from season 5. Young Kim was refusing a ride from her mother because she was drinking. This episode's obviously starts out very differently. We see that young Kim is been caught shoplifting or trying to shoplift, and her mother comes in acting all disappointed, and unbeknownst to us until it is unraveled that it's actually a play by her mother. This is a scheme to get something for free, basically playing a Slippin' Jimmy, and we can kind of tell where Kim's character is going with this context, with this new context or character of her playing schemes with her mother, how she's very susceptible for this kind of influence that Jimmy has on her, and this is kind of evolved, and he's kind of created Frankenstein's monster of his own doing in a way, but we get a lot of added context to this. I thought was just, my jaw was on the floor. Like, I just cannot believe, like, what? Seriously? Just a terrible mother, but very wonderful writing and a very welcome twist, I would say, to the teaser. When we get an inside look into Howard's home life, we finally get to meet the infamous Cheryl that was mentioned in episode 4. The first time we're seeing Howard's wife, which was very, very interesting, at least to me. And you can tell that they are deadlocked in their marriage. It's a very separated type of marriage, They're definitely not together. He prepares a wonderful latte for her with the peace symbol and the foam, and she just drops it into her little coffee container. And all that, you can just tell where their marriage is. And we never met this character before until now. We've only heard her mentioned, and throughout the first 5 seasons of Better Call Saul, we see Howard with a wedding ring, but that's the only kind of reference we have that he is actually married. And so I really like the dynamic that was played here. Patrick Fabian did a wonderful job. You really tell there's a lot of heartbreak and a lot of sorrow within this marriage, all too bittersweet for Howard and his possible outcome. I think after watching Breaking Bad for years and years, and then now Better Call Saul for years and years, there's a certain type of formula that the writers like doing. It's to kind of show us more and more of what we want of a character than completely just ripping your heart out and putting it on the ground. We saw it with the demise of Nacho earlier this season, and now we are seeing it with Howard, and it is just very, very sad. I'm still really worried for Howard, as I said in my last video, and I have no idea where they're going and where the plan to take down Howard is going, but there's definitely something tragic deaths afoot. Howard, of course, is continuing his surveillance on Jimmy with the private investigator, and it looks like Jimmy is very aloof to all this. Obviously, he is underestimating Howard a lot. He obviously doesn't think much of Howard. Jimmy's in some really hot water, getting large sums of money out, and Howard knows and sees this, and so it's going to be a very interesting kind of battle between the two. But we also got a very special surprise in this episode. We got the return of the vet, played by Joe DeRosa, the wonderful comedian. We have not seen him since season 4. It seems like he's retiring from the bad, dark business that he's been kind of attached to in this series and focusing more on the animals, which you see is his number one kind of passion. It was really wonderful to get that kind of character nuance with the vet. And Joe DeRosa obviously, just plays it well. Jimmy and Kim kind of look through his black book. It's all in code, and we get a glimpse of the business card of the disappear, aka the vacuum repair shop card, and they're setting something up. And there's been rumblings going around on social media about Kim with her character possibly ending up getting a new identity and starting over and disappearing again. Something very unforgivable. It was probably going to be happening, and Kim is going to be in a rock and a hard place. And so basically the theory that's kind of going around online, I don't consider it a spoiler because I don't go to spoiler sites. These are just basic little rumblings, and I'm really excited for the possibility. And I'm glad they're bringing it up. Very, very excited for that. I was just like, I was shook. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they actually planted that in there. And it was just a really, really, really great moment for the episode. And so looks like from the previous episode, Kim found out about the judge that's handling this Ann Piper case. It's not very clear what their plan is at this point, but it looks like that they want to have some evidence and have someone playing the judge and the series of photographs and incriminating photographs. And we get the brilliant actor John Ennis from Mr. Show, the second Mr. Show alumni that we've had on Better Call Saul, which is just really, really great. I'm sure hardcore Mr. Show fans like myself were very excited and jumping for joy when he was listed in the credits and when he appeared on screen as this actor playing this judge. And it's a very slippery slope of what's going on. Whatever their game plan is, again, it's not very clear, but it's very, very concerning. And I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous for Kim and Jimmy. I mean, obviously we know that Jimmy is Saul and he gets out pretty unscathed through the events of Better Call Saul. So it'll be very interesting to kind of see that play out. But I'm kind of scared to know what this plan actually is and what the D-Day will be for Howard and for everyone involved. And then we kind of cut back to Germany, and we see Lalo approaching the character. I forget the character's name, but he's from season 4 and beginning of season 5. He was one of the men working on the tunnel blast for the underground lab. It was the guy who kind of told off Mike in the beginning of season 5 about Warner. He was worth 50 of you.
He was worth 50 of you.
I think that's the same character, and Lalo's approaching him. He wants to get information, and it kind of goes awry, involving an axe and minor chase, and we really see a very brutal side of Lalo. We know Lalo is very capable of ultra violence, and he will stop at nothing to kill, to hurt, to abuse, anything to get what he needs. And right now, it's more information to getting the evidence he needs to take down Gus Fring. Of course, we know that probably doesn't work out for Lalo, but it is very interesting to see how this is all unfolding for the character. And of course, it kind of ends with Lalo getting a hold of the axe and almost decapitating this character and probably torturing him until he gets what he wants, and then he'll probably end up killing him. I don't know if we'll get more into this scene because it kind of leaves off a bit of a cliffhanger. We don't really know what is going to happen with Lalo and his character, but I'm assuming he's going to torture him for information, and then he'll probably kill him, which is, it's very Lalo type direction to go in, but it's one that I really enjoyed, and it was like the most intense moment of the entire episode. And we get more into the character Francesca, played brilliantly by Tina Parker. Of course, we know Francesca from Breaking Bad. She has more of a sunny disposition in Better Call Saul and more of a bitter disposition in Breaking Bad. And we see the first kind of stage of her descent into helping Saul with very, very shady things, starting with this phone call, a meeting they shouldn't be privy to. And so you can tell that she's very uncomfortable and she doesn't want to do this. And we know in the future series of Breaking Bad that she is, does the same kind of shady phone call kind of shtick in season 3 of Breaking Bad when she calls Hank pretending that his wife Marie is in the hospital. I kind of took it as the first stage to that. And Tina Parker just does a wonderful job of being very conflicted, and I really enjoyed that moment in the episode. And we see the laundry facility above the underground lab is in full force. We see employees, and I thought that was a really nice touch. We're getting very, very closer to the events in Breaking Bad, and so with this, it is very, very interesting to see it in full force. We get a little moment between Mike and Tyrus, a little bit of tension, the disagreement, and I really liked their chemistry in that scene. And we never really get much information on Tyrus or Victor. We, to our knowledge, before Better Call Saul came along, we just figured Tyrus was the guy to replace Victor. Victor and Tyrus are working together in Better Call Saul, so I'm wondering if something happened with Tyrus. He had to go away for a while. Same thing with Huel, because Huel didn't come into Breaking Bad until season 4. Ray Campbell's Tyrus is really great. Him and Jonathan Banks play really well off each other. It was a really nice little scene. I liked getting those little moments with Tyrus and Victor through Better Call Saul. They definitely get more of that than they did in Breaking Bad. Not that their performances in Breaking Bad were not great. They were. It's just they get a little bit more to play with, I feel, subtly in Better Call Saul. And we get a little sweet moment with Mike watching over Kaylee. It's a sweet little moment. He's watching them from across the street. He's on the phone with them, and Kaylee's looking through the telescope to try to find constellations. It's just a very sweet moment. It's kind of where Mike's kind of soul is at, like he does a very inhuman type things. He's a murderer, he's an aggressor, he's an enforcer, he's a cleaner, but there's still that kind of that center, that humane kind of the humanity center to him with his granddaughter. So it was really great to get little moments like that, and I really enjoyed that scene in the episode. And there's another sweet scene with Jimmy and Kim. They decide to go out with a bottle of wine, and they're kind of have a little picnic right next to the HHM building. We haven't seen the HHM offices since season 4, I think, maybe season 5. Definitely in season 4, I think, was the last time we saw that building. So it'll be really interesting to see the offices again played out. What looks like to be next week. I do watch the promos. I just can't help myself, even if they are a tad bit spoilery. I really do enjoy the work that the promotional materials kind of go into. And it was just a nice little scene, along with the Mike and Kaylee scene as well. And it's kind of the calm before the storm, because this episode definitely ends on a storm. It ends in a panic, and it leaves us in a panic. And now we have to wait another week to find out what's going to happen with this D-Day plan. So Jimmy goes in the liquor store getting the tequila that we see Gus give the Don and Breaking Bad, Cefalo and Nero, or I can't pronounce it. So, but he's there to get the liquor, and coincidentally, he sees the judge that they're trying to incriminate. I think they're going to incriminate. That's my best guess at this point, but I digress. And he has a broken arm, and the actor they got to play the judge does not have a broken arm, so they have to change their plans. And Jimmy's in a frantic panic. He calls Kim, and he tells her they're going to have to pull the plug as she's on her way to a meeting in Santa Fe with Cliff and everything with the foundation. And Kim makes a move that I didn't think she would 100% commit to. She turns around in her car and she is very set on fulfilling this plan against Howard. And I'm not really sure if it's because Howard put her in doc review for all that time or if it's something else, but it was really, really just a shocking way and a very cliffhanger way to end the episode. And it was just very, very stress inducing, very anxiety inducing, but very well executed. And I loved it and I want more. I wish we could get to next week already. But then again, we're going to have to wait 6 more weeks after next week for the remaining 6 episodes of Better Call Saul. So I guess I want to try to savor it as much as possible. You know, we got the Better Call Saul Insider podcast to kind of help us get through. If you have not listened to that podcast and interested in how things go behind the scenes of Better Call Saul or how things go in the production, you know, it's a very good kind of film school as well. I'm learning a lot just by listening and going back and listening to all the old episodes. They've been doing it since the first episode of Better Call Saul, and I'd highly recommend it. And that's basically what we're left with. I think there's more to this Howard thing than what's on the surface with Kim. I think Mbari has something to do with her relationship with her mother. Maybe she can't just let go, that she has to do this. She has to do the scheme. She has to see it through. I don't really know. Hopefully we'll find out by next week, but those are going to be my thoughts on this episode. I think I've tortured you enough with my ramblings and rantings. But overall, I thought this was a great episode. Another just supremely amazing, brilliant episode. You know, probably a broken record about that. This entire season so far has been great. I really feel they're going to stick the landing. I really trust Peter Gould and company and all the writers and directors and crew and everyone involved. This is going to be quite a hell of a final season to a show. And, you know, hopefully Better Call Saul gets the recognition it deserves in this final season. You know, they haven't gotten a lot of awards, nomination love. Ray Seahorn has been very snubbed in all the past few seasons. She just delivers banger after banger scene and performance throughout the entire series, and it's just criminal that she's not even recognized for it. Not that awards really matter anyways, because Kim Wexler's always trending on Twitter and the fans really love Kim Wexler. I really love Kim Wexler, and you know, that's definitely some recognition that you can't really ignore. So anyways, that's going to be it for this video. My name is George Ray. I want to appreciate you checking this out. What are your thoughts on this episode of Better Call Saul? Please let me know down there in the comments, and please like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. And I'll see you on the next video and definitely on the next episode of Better Call Saul. Until then, peace out.